Welcome to Creating Abundance with Alana Cahoon, sharing inspirational stories from experts around the world. Tap into your inner wisdom at alanacahoon.com. I'm happy to welcome our guest, Lauren Fields, a life design strategist, podcast host, and TEDx speaker who's passionate about helping individuals design and live extraordinary lives. With a diverse background in hospitality, health and wellness, and life coaching, Lauren founded the Fieldswell Method. This method empowers clients to overcome challenges with resilience and grace in order to tap into their full potential. I am delighted now to say hello to Lauren. How are you?
Hi, Alana. Thank you for the incredible introduction. I am doing so well. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
I'm so happy to see you again. So, for the listeners out there, Lauren and I met, I think it was in the summer or the spring of 2024 at our first, at least it was my first podcast conference. Was that your first?
It was my very first. And at the time, I don't know if you had already launched your podcast, but at the time, I hadn't quite launched mine.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. No, I had launched mine not knowing what I was doing, but I pulled it together and I did it because it's for the benefit of everyone.
It
And
is.
so it's a joy. It's become such a joy. So Lauren and I are part of the Los Angeles Tribune podcast network. And that's how we met. But Lauren is one of the most beautiful, radiant souls I've ever met. And I know that you're going to fall in love with her as we begin to talk. So tell us a little bit about this method you've created and what you're doing in your life today.
Sure. I think it would be beneficial for me to go back and kind of explain how it came to be, because
Sure.
then it will all make more sense. So I feel I have been called to be doing what I am doing. And the way that I explain what my mission is to elevate the human experience. And so what I'm fascinated by is finding the little ways and kind of romanticizing our life and finding little ways we can really enjoy each moment to the fullest. And I came to this because there were moments when I was really resisting life. Certain experiences had happened to me, and I was wondering kind of why me, had a victim mindset. When I was 14 years old, I was in a horse accident and I woke up from a coma 3 days after the accident, and the doctors had explained I had a traumatic brain injury. I was so young at the time, and the doctors had limiting beliefs about my future, my memory retention. They wanted to keep me out of school, but I went out and I set out to prove them wrong. And I think I was on this path of proving myself for so long. And I finally realized that I could use my experience to help others. And that's when everything changed for me, Alana. And so it was like the healing process that I used from this event that helped me develop my coaching method.
Wow. So you were 14 years old, you were horseback riding, and I take it you got thrown from the horse.
I did. And
Oh,
it's not the
wow.
horse's fault. I had competed all over the world for a decade, and I squeezed the horse to take off from the jump a little bit too far away. He left, didn't quite make it. I went flying and was life flighted into the hospital.
Oh my goodness. I just so you know, right now, for those of you who are viewing this, um, Lauren, you look like a, a horse rider. I can see that. I used to ride horses, not competitively. I did get thrown once, but
Mhm.
clearly it wasn't
Yeah.
fierce. But you remind me of a story of my own. I was 16 and got in a car accident and I woke up out of a coma. So
Oh
who
my
knew?
gosh, I had no idea.
not,
Wow.
not many people do. It's not a story I
No.
often think about. So
Yeah.
now you've got my brain going back to that time.
Mhm.
So I think it's beautiful though that you've shifted this story and from proving yourself to
Mhm.
to romanticizing life.
Yeah.
I even wrote that down.
Mm.
Romanticizing life. What if every day we woke up and romanticized the day? So tell us more about that. How do you do that?
Sure. So, my story is a lot of like turning your adversity into your advantage. And it comes back to this. What I have found is so often we get overwhelmed by, okay, there's all these things, all these goals I have, all these dreams. How am I going to get from A to Z? That just seems like such a far reach. But instead of if I say, I can help you design your life, what if we focus on designing your day? And we focus on this one day. So I've really created a routine that I believe works well for myself. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but there are just so many little moments. And by sharing this, I think individuals, it will either work with them or not, but you'll be able to see how you can really break apart your day to create more mindfulness and abundance in your life. So to tell you a little bit about what I do, one of the things I love is called bookending your days. And that is includes my morning routine. So I wake up in the morning and the first thing I do is I say thank you because today is a gift. None of us are guaranteed another day. So to wake up and immediately practice gratitude. Then after drinking a glass of water, I go and I sit in front of my red light therapy panel for a meditation, visualization, and affirmation exercise. And this is where I sit with myself, observe the way that I'm thinking, and I visualize the future that I plan to create for myself. And I speak affirmations that are in line with that future and becoming the person that I need to become in order to be able to self actualize the future.
Oh gosh, I love this. This is
So,
so good.
yeah, so this is all how I start the day. So, before any other external inputs, say from my phone or other individuals, this is how I start every morning with intention. And I think of how do I want to feel today? Who do I want to be today? And you'll notice like living with intention can completely change your life. My phone sleeps in the kitchen, so I'm not waking up looking at notifications. And there was a point in my life where I did turn over, grab my phone, and my day was dictated by whether, say, a loved one had sent me a message, or like how many likes I got on social media or what have you. And now that's completely changed. Like that's not how I start my day. I start my day with intention and by taking care of myself so I can show up for others in the best way possible.
I love that. So starting your day with intention.
Mhm.
I'm all about it.
Yeah.
And tell us, so your meditation then in the morning, so this is your first bookend, is starts with gratitude. You woke up. You're here. You've got this gorgeous day ahead of you, or
Yeah.
whatever the day is ready for you. But then you visualize. So you use creative visualization to create the future you want of this day.
Mhm.
And what I love about going day by day instead of, okay, what's your 1 year, 5 year, 10 years? Like, I don't know. Of
Right.
course, I want 5 million, 50 million, $100 million. Everybody does, right? That's the first
Mhm.
thing
Yeah.
everybody thinks of. But what about starting with the day
Right.
and maybe it's today, it's noticing the beauty around you
Mhm.
or checking off the
Yeah.
one thing off of your
Yeah.
list.
Mhm.
So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it's important to have the 5 and 10 year plan so you know where you want to go, but then just focus on the day because that's really all we know that we have is this day and this very moment, Alana. We get to sit here with one another, learn from one another, hear each other's stories, and hope to share our message with countless others so that they too can maybe find value in what we're saying. And I think that's so special that we have the opportunity to do this.
I love it. So tell us about the other side, the
Sure.
bookend at the end of the
So the
day.
other side is my evening routine. Again, once I'm done with the day, and I like to set my schedule, like ensure I've looked over my schedule for the next day, the night prior, so that when I wake up, I'm not scrambling. I know what the day is going to look like. So once the schedule is set, I put my phone on sleep mode in the kitchen, go into my room and dim the lights, take a warm shower, do my skincare routine, and then I will get out my gratitude journal and I'll write down at least 5 things from that day that happened that I'm grateful for. And sometimes it's often more than that. And it's kind of like a recap of my day. And I like journaling about it, things that came up. And sometimes I'll even, if there's something I'm struggling with or that's causing me a little bit of stress, I'll write it down just to release it from inside of my mind onto the page. And I'll ask for help with it. Just come write a little journal entry with what I need help with and what's been on my mind. Then I will do some reading. I really love personal development and self-improvement books. Sometimes those can really get me going like late at night, but it's my favorite genre. So I'll do some reading. And then I will do a little bit of, I do blue light therapy in the evening. And by that point, I'm normally, when I'm under that blue light, I'm ready for bed. So that's how I do my evenings.
All right, you've shared so much. It's such a wealth. And I love the idea that you close the day with a warm shower because that water really starts the process of um, relaxation.
Yes.
Sometimes I suggest a hot bath with Epsom salts, maybe some lavender essential oils.
Mm-hmm.
Just and also there's something visually relaxing about water too. That again with the creative visualization that this water's washing away the day,
Yes.
whatever it was, so that you can go to bed with a clear mind.
I think I love showers. Showers, I feel like always make you feel better. And one thing with the evening routine is what you want to be doing is when you dim the lights, when you have this relaxing routine, you're lowering the cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and you're increasing the melatonin in your brain. So this is what starts and prepares you for a really good night's sleep.
Tell us more about the light therapy. I heard you mention the red light in the morning and the
Yes.
blue light in the evening.
Yes. So the blue light in the evening is really good, mainly for clear skin. So it what is the word? It helps with bacteria and it just like clear is really good for, say, if you've ever suffered from or experienced acne. Blue light is what you want to use for that. And then the red light helps build collagen and is also really good for mood. And they say just like you would go out and get sunlight in the morning, if say you can't go outside, using the red light will help balance your circadian rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Red light therapy in the morning and blue light therapy in the evening.
Mm.
And what I also like about this bookend approach with these tools,
Mm.
because I'm very based on the tools of the mind, using our mind in meditation, mindfulness, etc. But this is an external, tangible tool, and sometimes that can be so useful. It's like, oh wait, I need to turn this light on. Oh wait, I need to take the shower. These things help us create a routine that our body, our mind, our spirit starts craving in a good,
Yeah.
healthy manner.
Yeah. I like thinking of it like just as you would take care of a child, to take care of yourself in a really, really kind and gentle and loving way. And you'll start to build a relationship with yourself and you'll begin to trust yourself because you have these routines in place. And for example, when I wake up, I don't let myself go look at my phone. I ensure that I sit in my meditation and I tell my body for now, you're going to sit here for 15 minutes and then we can go have our decaf coffee and then we can have, we can look at whatever, we can go on with our day. But in this time, like this is what we're doing. And it's this interesting concept of obedience and training yourself to stick with these routines.
Yeah. Yeah. Discipline.
Mm-hmm.
It's discipline. I always love to see how disciplined an individual is. Well, let's use the mother child. So you just said you would take care of your child in a loving, concerned manner, putting them first. How do you treat yourself in that same loving, gentle, concerned manner, using not just the heart and the soul and the mind, but a form of discipline?
Mm-hmm.
How does it become a discipline? And maybe part of that is the journaling process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's the daily routines. It's the
Right.
routines and it's the action steps and it's the structure to my life where I know, okay, we need to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep if we want to be a really effective coach, podcaster, participant, human tomorrow. It's really important that we get a good amount of sleep. It's important that we have our self-care practices. And all of these things, Alana, really help with emotional regulation and just ensuring like things are going to happen in life that are so unpredictable and out of our control. But if we have these routines and this discipline, we're not going to be on a roller coaster ride. Sure, things may happen that knock us a little bit off course, but we'll be able to get back more quickly if we have these routines in place.
Absolutely. I meditate every morning. I have a box full of journals. I have my morning smoothie every day, my salad in the afternoon, a healthy, balanced dinner. And it's interesting. The nighttime is the only challenge I've ever really personally uh, dealt with, because at the end of the day, I just want to like relax, collapse. And I find myself meditating once I've hit the pillow. I'm like, oh, okay, let's do it here. And it's okay, as long as you wash through and do that gratitude, you will sleep so much more calmly and
Yes.
deeply.
Sleep has been such a life game changer. I stopped drinking caffeine in 2024. I only used to have 1 cup of coffee in the morning, but I just really wanted to prioritize sleep and I wanted to see what it felt like to be in my body without a stimulant. Not that I was overdoing it, but it really has been a game changer getting this really quality night's sleep.
Absolutely. I think it's becoming more and more clear how important it is, because we're on such a on the go type of culture.
Yes.
Yeah, so rest is imperative for so many reasons, for happiness, for
Yeah.
clarity and focus. Um, so tell us a bit about your TEDx talk.
Sure. So I think that I first had the dream of giving a TEDx talk 5 years ago. And I wrote it in my 5 or 10 year plan. But I didn't feel like at the like beyond that I really, really focused on, okay, let's start this now. I just knew it was something I wanted to do in the future. And I could ask Lauren, why didn't you try harder 5 years ago for it? But all of a sudden, I got to a point in my life where I finally felt like I'm ready. Now's the time. I'm going to go for this. And so this past October, I gave a TEDx talk. And what I ended up talking about was my equestrian accident, because it still is present in my everyday life, the effects from that event. What happened was it created nerve damage from a blood spot on my brain that affected my ability to lift my right foot properly. So my gait was a bit off and walking was really painful. So I had a surgery from that. And I was like, why does this keep coming up? This happened so long ago. And so I ended up giving this TEDx talk, and it was called The Space Between Falling and Getting Back on the Horse. Because all of us have experienced falling, and people always say, get back up, dust your shoulders off. But what if we can use this space between falling and getting back up as this transformative space where we reflect, rebuild, and recover?
Reflect, rebuild, and recover.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's not all that easy to just get up and, shake the dust off your feet. You need to take the time for self-care and
Mhm.
transformation.
Yeah. And so often say we just get up and go full speed ahead. We don't pay attention to what has happened in the past that may be a pain point, and it'll keep showing up in our future. And so often people say, for example, they get out of a relationship and they're immediately dating someone else. And things, examples like this, they don't take the time to go in and self-reflect. And so whatever pain you didn't heal from the past, I believe it will keep showing up in your future and it'll keep trying to teach you a lesson. And so I just think it's so important that we prioritize this time, maybe when we're not okay, to sit with ourselves and say, what happened? How am I doing? What do I need right now? And really, really prioritize that time instead of trying to run from it.
Right. It's not about medicating yourself, although
Yeah.
if that's the path you're on, I'm not going to judge you, because that's even more important, is to live your life and journey without judgment, without blame. So, whatever that fall is, whether it's falling off of a horse or a car, which was my situation, I actually fell off the back end of
Oh
a
my
car
gosh.
as the driver took off.
Oh my
Boom.
gosh.
I know. Um, but that is very symbolic, you know.
Yeah.
It's not about blaming anyone, and certainly not about blaming yourself, which I find most people do. We spend
Mm.
our lives blaming ourselves, and that is the root cause of unhappiness.
Alana, it really is. And I think it's so important that, like, yes, we can forgive, uh, to take control and to get back in the driver's seat of our own life. We need to forgive others for what has happened, but we also really need to forgive ourselves for maybe not showing up how we had wished, or for allowing something to persist for longer than it should have, but for not speaking up. We need to forgive ourselves. And this comes back to, how do you take care of yourself? What is the relationship you have with yourself? Because I think that is the gateway to ultimate potential.
Absolutely. Self forgiveness,
Yeah.
gratitude. So, starting your day with gratitude, visualizing the day. How do you want to feel
Yeah.
today? How do you?
Visualizing the day, and even, some of the bigger goals you have, visualizing those when you're doing your morning meditation. And then just getting excited about being alive in this experience that we get to have on this planet. So many people say, oh, can't wait to go to heaven. Like, heaven sounds amazing, but what if this is our heaven? What if we can just treat life every day as that and romanticize little actions, whether it's taking the dog for a walk, working out, reading a book, whatever it is, this moment is all we have that we know of. And when you're stuck on another moment, you're missing this moment. And this moment is the moment where you really get to create yourself. And one of my favorite quotes is like, the greatest act of creation you'll ever undertake is the act of creating yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so important. Our thoughts create our reality. I say that
Hmm.
over and over again,
Yeah.
which is monitoring your thoughts. And that brings us back to your morning meditation. In addition to the creative visualization, you shared with us that you watch your thoughts.
Mhm. Yeah.
And by being aware of your thoughts, again, without judgment, just simply being aware, then you know before you go out and embrace the day, you can see what is getting stuck, because usually there's a pattern, there's a story that's repeating itself.
Yeah.
And you can choose to allow that to be an undercurrent, or you can gently push it away, place it on a cloud, place it on a leaf in a river, and let it go.
Yeah. I love this image that, just like clouds on a stormy day, if you're having a thought that you're not loving, it's going to pass on by. You don't need to get attached to that one cloud. It's going to move on by. And I also want to reference, do you follow Dr. Joe Dispenza?
Yes.
So he has an incredible show called Rewired on Gaia Network that I recommend everyone watch. And something that he has said is that as humans, we have on average 60,000 thoughts a day, 90% of which are repetitive. So they're the same as the day before, and up to 80% of those thoughts can be negative. So if you look at that statistic, like, no wonder some of us are stuck in these negative thought loop spirals, because we're allowing these same thought patterns to persist day after day without intervening. And I think once you start a mindfulness practice, you'll start to realize how much more control you have over your thought process, and how much you can change your reality by changing the way that you're thinking.
Absolutely. And that's it in a nutshell, right? Mindfulness is being aware of your thoughts
Mhm.
without judgment, shifting them
Yeah.
to how do you want your day
Mhm.
to be?
Yeah. Challenging the thought, how can I replace this? And it doesn't have to be the exact opposite. So, say the thought is like, I'll never be able to do this. It could be like, what if you can do this?
Yeah. So there are a couple of other things I want to cover. Um, one is I know you've gone back to school.
I
Tell
have.
us a little bit about the program you're in.
Sure. So I studied business undergrad, and then I moved to New York City, and I was working as a lifestyle manager. I was ensuring individuals live this beautiful external reality. I knew where the best restaurants were, hotels were, locations they wanted to visit, the galas they wanted to go to, but I felt like the soul was lacking from this business. And it was, again, related to me trying to prove my external reality was beautiful. And I do love hospitality, travel, lifestyle, but I, again, felt like the soul of this business was lacking. So I started to go to a health and wellness coaching certification program at IIN. I did a life coaching certification program. I did a yoga teacher training. And then I was like, I really want to, as I was building my coaching business on the side, what I really wanted to do was understand the science behind human behavior. And so I am now in a psychology master's program, and I graduate at the end of this year. And I'm just blown away by all that I have learned. And I'm so grateful because I'm able to infuse it in the work that I'm doing, whether it's speaking with you, whether it's with a client, and honestly, in every day-to-day interaction. It really helps me understand how people operate, and just on, it's been incredible, Alana. So I'm really grateful for this program.
I love it. It's so inspiring. You are so inspiring on so many levels, Lauren.
Thank you.
Going back to university studies, that's a big commitment, requires energy, time, mindset, financial resources, everything. And on top of that, you have now launched your podcast, and you're helping people. So here's a question then. How have you seen your work help people in their business, in their professional lives?
Mm-hmm. So the reason I wanted to start Fieldswell, which is my coaching business, and my podcast is the Fieldswell podcast, is as a destination for growth and transformation, because I feel like so many of us can get stuck in this dark night of the soul where we don't see the light. And I've been there. And so I want to help as many people get out of that, because I am proof that you can get out of it and you can find the light again, and to kind of embrace that process, because you're in almost what I believe is like a reawakening. So often when I have clients come in, they have this idea, but they just are afraid perhaps to go after it, or they don't know the steps to take. So I help them get really clear on their vision, and I help them with their mindset, and I help ensure they have a great relationship with themselves so they have the courage to go after, if it's starting a new business, if it's leveling up in their business. That's more of what I help with, as opposed to being an actual business coach. It's more of the personal development and creating that vision you have for your future and being able to actualize it.
I love that. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's half of it. There's so many people who have financial wealth, individuals I've worked with who are absolutely miserable, and shifting the mindset and allowing yourself to say, well, who do I want to be, right? What does my perfect day look like?
Yeah. And so many people don't spend the time to think of what they actually want. They're just going with the motions. I did this. I went to the boardwalk here in San Diego, and I did a little interview. It was New Year's Eve, and I went around and I asked people what their word was for 2024. And people were really excited about this question, but a lot of people didn't know what their word was, and they hadn't even thought about 2024 yet. They were just excited for a new year. And it blew my mind, because I'm such a big believer on intention. The power of intention and having a word. My word for 2024 is action.
I love it. Well, you are in action.
Thank you. It's been fun. And I was a perfectionist, and I like to do everything to the best of my ability, but you have to throw perfection out the window, because you have to be willing to mess up, to fail. And I just think taking bold, messy action has been a game changer for me. So I encourage anyone just to take that first step. And because then you'll see what's on the other side of that. If you never take that first step, you'll never know what other options or opportunities are available to you.
So bold, messy
action.
Action. Okay. Yeah. I'm writing that one down.
Yeah. Either you're sitting in the same position you've always been in, or you can take some bold, messy action and you can experience a new reality.
Okay. As long as I don't fall off a horse.
Yeah. Hey, I fell off countless times before that happened. That was a rare occurrence.
All right. And what's the name of your podcast?
The name of my podcast is the Fieldswell Podcast.
So that's Fieldswell.
Exactly. It's my last name and then like wellness after, just the
Right.
first part of
Got
wellness.
it.
So Fieldswell. And that again is another thing that I had wanted to start probably for at least 5 years. And so it's really incredible to me. And I'm so grateful that as soon as I had the courage and I went after giving this TEDx talk and sharing a story that I was maybe afraid to share or embarrassed that I had been suffering from that, maybe in silence and not sharing my experience because I was so worried what other people would think, that instead I flipped it to like, this talk could potentially help someone else who is suffering or who is looking to further develop themselves or go after their dreams. And once I gave that talk and showed up there, I met people like Mo Rock who have completely changed my career path and helped me in so many ways. And it led me to you. That's why we're sitting here. So you just never know how one experience will lead you to where you want to go so long as you have this clear vision. And so often we want things to happen on our own timeline. But I'm telling you, I wanted to have a podcast 5 years ago, and I could have asked now at 30, why didn't it happen then? But now I understand that I'm so grateful I've had all these other life experiences that have turned me into someone who really can host a podcast and who is excited and able to have these wonderful conversations with others. Whereas at that point, I don't know if I was there yet.
Yeah. It's a journey. It's a
It's a
journey.
journey.
You're reminding me of one of my intentions. So every day, in a similar manner, I create an intention, and often I'll have what I like to call my unique mantra. And one is be brave, be bold, be beautiful.
Ooh,
Brave, be
fierce.
bold, be beautiful. Go
Look at
out there
that.
and live your life.
And when you speak that, right? Like you feel it, you radiate, you light up. So wake up. I want to be glorious today. Like, what's your word? And like feel that and be that. And then you'll become it.
Yeah. Become the word. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Phrase it
Embody
right.
it.
Embody it. Embody
Yeah.
it. So let's see. I'm going to wrap up with one last question, which is you shared about self care, and you used an example of not jumping into a romantic relationship immediately after ending one,
Mhm.
and to give yourself that time for self-reflection, etc. But uh, that's not easy for most people. I understand it and I value it and I have done it myself. So tell us how how our listeners, viewers can do this,
Mhm.
how they can really step away and heal and transform before
Mhm.
taking the next step into another intimate relationship.
Yeah, so I'll explain this in how I understand what's happening after a breakup is you are wounded, perhaps your heart is broken and you're seeking the love that you were getting from the partner that you were just with and you're looking outside of yourself to find that from someone else. When you ultimately what you really need to do is all that love you need to give to yourself. The love that you were giving to your past partner, shower yourself in that love because if you jump straight into a new relationship and you haven't healed the wounds yet from your previous ones, it's often that they will come back up down the road, whether it's weeks, months, or years later, because you never really healed from what just happened. So I think it's important that you become whole on your own, and then you will attract a much more well suited partner for yourself once you have confidence in who you are and you feel like you're whole and you're really ready to date again.
Beautiful, beautifully said. Thank you
Thank you.
so much.
Yeah.
And how can people reach you then?
I would say I use Instagram the most. My Instagram handle is my name, Lauren Fields. So you can find me there. I mean, you can also listen to the Fieldswell podcast or go to my website, fieldswell.com. But I am most frequently on Instagram.
Excellent. And I think you have a free gift for
I do
everyone?
have a free gift. So often we want to figure out how to turn our dream into reality. Not to worry, I created a dream to reality blueprint that has the 7 steps that I use in that process, and I use it with my clients. So I will share that link with you, Alana, so we can put it in the show notes for
I sure
anyone.
will.
Yes.
Absolutely. So excited for everyone. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing your transformation, your journey from a coma to this vibrant woman today who's helping everyone else to implement tools to bring more peace, joy, abundance, health, wealth, and happiness into their lives.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Alana. Thank you so much for having me on today. I had so much fun discussing all of abundance with you.
Thank you
Wonderful.
for listening to Creating Abundance. Be sure to like and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next podcast and get your free ebook at alanacahoon.com/ebook.